Over those years, I thought about my 11-plus years as leader of the Ontario Progressive Conservative Party, and I thought about the progress that we had made as a party. I thought about the past 6 years as Premier of this great province and all the gains that we've made together and with all the families who live here and work here. I thought about all of this, and I thought about my own family, and I thought about the future. Last night I delivered to our party president, Dr. Ruben Devlin, a letter asking the party executive to call a leadership election as soon as possible. I spoke to our caucus this morning, and I indicated to them that I will resign as party leader and I will resign as Premier of Ontario upon the election of a new leader of the party. Once our leader is chosen and the new Premier is sworn into office, I will serve the balance of my political career here at Queen's Park the same way as I began, as a member of the legislature representing the people of Nipissing. It is the people of Nipissing who entrusted me to represent them on 6 consecutive occasions. And to them, I'll be forever grateful for that opportunity. Next week, our party will lay out a new vision at our convention. The results of what we've called the destinations phase or the vision phase of seizing tomorrow's opportunities. It is this grassroots party consultation. It's very similar to the ones we did back in the early 90s. And it is these consultations, even more extensive today, that is laying the foundations for the next common sense revolution. The leader that takes us into the next provincial election, some 2 years or so from now, should lead the development of the policies and the promises that will take our party to renewal and to a 3rd consecutive majority government. As Premier of Ontario, I've done things I could never dreamed of growing up as a boy in Callander and North Bay, Ontario. I entered political life to make a difference, to make changes for the better. I am very proud of the Common Sense Revolution and all that it has done. As a father, I can honestly say that we've given our children, including my 2 sons, Michael and Jeffrey, a better future, full of opportunities. We restored accountability and excellence in our education system. We rewarded initiative. We reinforced the work ethic with our tax cuts and our welfare reforms. We provided for the most vulnerable in our province. We balanced the budget. We set the stage for building this province once again. Our government has laid a foundation. We have restored pride in our province. We've put in place the economic fundamentals that will allow Ontario to realize its full potential. When I think of all our accomplishments, I am most proud of all that we have done to level the playing field for children, to ensure that every child has an equal start in life and a province full of the kind of opportunities that will allow them to fulfill their dreams. From Head Start programs in our first year in office, healthy babies, healthy children, early years centers, breakfast programs, new rigorous curriculum throughout all the grades, new standards, increased testing, record investments in our post-secondary expansion and excellence in our colleges and our universities. All of these initiatives we undertook to give our children a more equal chance at a better future in this great province. Over the past 6 years, I believe we've changed politics in Ontario. I believe government is an instrument of the people. I've always believed that. It is not an end in itself. We're here to serve the taxpayers, not the other way around. The political process, as flawed as it might be, is a vehicle to achieve great things. And I am proud of our province. I am proud of the people of this province. In turning this province around, we've done some amazing things together. And we can say, because what we have done together, Ontario is indeed a better place. I want to thank the people of this great province. I want to thank the people of Nipissing for the opportunity to serve in that effort. I want to thank my party, the Ontario Progressive Conservative Party, that has had confidence in me and stood behind me. I want to thank all those throughout the province who have supported me, who have supported our party, including a very competent and a professional civil service who have carried out significant change for us in this province. And I particularly want to thank all the members of my family and my friends for their unwavering support. I'm pleased to take questions.
Premier, I'll put out a question for you. Rick Mackey from the Globe and Mail, first, please.
Premier, you talked about reflecting on Thanksgiving weekend. In recent months, your party's been hit with a lot of bad political news, lost by-elections, falling support polls. How much of a factor was this in your decision at this time?
None, really. I am very confident. We've been in this position in the polls midterms many times before. Certainly, I felt very confident. We were on the right track. We were bringing in policies that, when it came time for the poll that mattered, that would lead to our re-election. And I felt very confident of that before making this decision. And I feel very confident of that after making this decision with a new leader.
Premier,
Leon,
sorry. A number of times here over the last couple of years, you've been asked a question about your future, and you've continually said that you would be staying. In fact, no more emphatic, I believe, than the Brockville Declaration in the middle of August when you said, "I'm here, I'm staying." I'm just wondering, sir, what has changed in those 2 months?
Well, I don't know that I would call it the Brockville Declaration. That might be overstating that particular caucus meeting. It's a personal decision. When it comes to now, I believed was the time. I didn't believe it was in the first 2 years of my renewed mandate. Others had suggested that I should be contemplating my future or reaffirming my future. I was governing and leading this party and this caucus, obviously prepared to run in another election. And I felt this fall was time to reflect on my future and make a decision on another 4 or 5 years in politics, or certainly as Premier and as leader of the party, or 4 or 5 months. And at the end of the day, on balance, it's your gut kind of tells you what do you think is best for Mike Harris. And then timing, what's best for the party, what's best for the province. And there's always a combination of those factors, and I made a very personal decision.
Ian Urquhart from the Toronto Star.
Premier, over the next several months, if your Education Minister, Finance Minister, Environment Minister, and Health Minister all run for leader, you're going to have part-time ministers in all those portfolios. Will you ask them to step down, or are we going to have a part-time government?
Well, your paper and others have indicated that I've been too hands-on many times and running the government myself. So I'll do that again if that's your wish for another 5 months. I think that those who may seek the leadership of this party are in a position to be able to fulfill their responsibilities and to campaign for leadership of the party. If there is any member of cabinet running for the leadership who feels that any consensus positions of our cabinet is something they wish to deviate from, that will be a decision for them to make as to, because I expect them to expect every member of cabinet to support this government and the policies and the decisions. We've got some important work to do over the next 4 or 5 months. And there may be others who are not in cabinet, and there may be those in the party who are not elected, who may consider running as well. but everybody will have to find that balance. I can assure you I plan to be a full-time premier, and we will have a full and active government through this period.
Susan Lunn, BBC National Radio. How much influence did your family, and in particular Mrs. Harris, have on today?
Well, contrary to a lot of the speculation, and I think it's important for the party in particular to understand that Janet has been with me on the bus in 3 elections. She was quite prepared to be with me on the bus in 3 more elections. She was prepared to travel anywhere in the world and to support me in whatever career decision that I made. So as far as making the decision, she was very positive in encouraging me to do what I wanted to do, and so any suggestion to the contrary is quite wrong. I can assure you of that.
Robert Benzie, National Post.
Premier, I know you said you're going to remain as an MPP through the rest of this mandate, presumably another 2 years. What I'm wondering is what's next for you after that. I noticed you're wearing your Ontario's Promise pin. Do you plan to be involved with that charity that you co-founded? And if so, what else? Are you going to be on board?
Well, I haven't gone that far, Robert. I've got 4, 5, 6. We'll see how the party is at getting the leadership process up and running in the appropriate length of time. But I think about 5 years to lead this province. It'll be a busy time. There are many legislative things this fall we wish to accomplish. I intend to turn over both the party and the government in a strong shape. I'm an optimist. I believe very strongly this province is going through a difficult time right now, but I believe by next spring it'll be stronger. And I intend to engage full-time in governing this province. I have not gone beyond that to the future. I look forward to, and I'm sure there are new opportunities that will be there for me, but I won't even contemplate looking there for a while.
Great. Excuse me, sorry, that's the border. Graham Richardson.
How do you control them so well? I was never able to do that.
Premier, Ralph Klein often talks about the fire in your belly that you need for this business. Have you lost it?
Well, I've certainly made a decision that I feel for me personally, and when you feel that way, I think it's in the best interest of the party and the province that it is time for new leadership. And so I agree with Ralph Klein, as I've agreed with him on many occasions, that you have to be committed and engaged full-time, look at not just for 5 months, but to want to lead this party now for, in my case, a minimum of 5 years. And I did not feel that that was what I wanted to do at this stage of my career.
Antonella Archibald, not his son.
Can you tell us what you'll look back most proudly on and what, if any, regrets you have?
No, I don't think today's the day for me to do that. I know there are many accomplishments that I believe we've made, many changes that we've made. I believe, as I said, the province is a much stronger province today, and there are many more opportunities there. I indicated that I am proudest of balancing the books is stopping to spend my children's future. The tax cuts to create jobs are so that there can be opportunities, not just today, but for future generations. And there is something within each of us as human beings that comes forward, and it came forward with me in politics, that you want to provide for succession. You want to leave this planet, and in my case, this province, a better place than you found it for the next generation. And so I can tell you the motivation and is to do that. And I'm proudest. I mean, 600,000 people off the welfare rolls is a figure I couldn't contemplate when we campaigned for restoration of the work ethic and work for welfare. So there are many things that I feel proud of. But I am proudest, perhaps, of why, and of the motive, and why we were doing these things, and the legacy that of all of these things that we're leaving for our children. And I didn't answer, you know, I do hope, for example, Ontario's promise that I can carry on in a leadership role with Ontarians in the private sector in this initiative.
Raj Ahluwalia from CBC2.
Mr. Premier, you didn't answer the second part of Antonella's question. I wonder if I can ask that again. That being, if you look back on your time, not just as Premier, but as leader of the party and in politics, what would you say, ooh, I wish I could do that again, or what regret would you have over anything you've done?
Well, I don't think that was the second part of Antonella's question. I thought it was phrased a lot more in the positive than your question. No, today's not the time for me to reflect on things I would have wished to do differently, or on accomplishments that we're most proud of. I mean, perhaps the legacy of my time in politics will come in the next 10 years. I think we've laid a solid foundation where this province can move and change for the good and for the better, even more dramatically in the next 6 years than we have in the past 6 years. So I haven't turned my attention to that yet, and I think it's a little early to do so. I mean, I've still got 5 months. I can do a lot of things in 5 months.
The next question will be from Ray Chan from TEL.
What will you miss most
About politics? All of you. I'll miss the people. I'll miss the people. I'll miss the friends. I'll miss the relationships. Obviously there are challenges in this job. There are many personal sacrifices that one makes and that families make. But it is all the very marvelous people here in Ontario and around the world that I've had the opportunity to meet, to work with, and I hope that I can maintain some of those relationships, but obviously the focus will move on to others. And I'll miss you all. Thanks.
Premier Mike Harris makes it officially announcing his resignation. He hopes that a leadership convention will be held as soon as possible, and then he will resign as Premier of the party, but will stay on as an MPP for his riding of Nipissing until the next election sometime in the year 2002. Harris was quite reflective, saying that he took a flight home on Thanksgiving weekend and saw the fall colors and decided what his next move was, and that it is a personal decision and it is time for Mike Harris to move on, although he did not say what he was going to move on until. We're going to take a short break right now. We'll be right back with much more news for you on this incredible day at Queen's Park on Cable Plus 24.
Early light breaks through, music and dance calling you. Need Folgers aromatic lift before you share your gift. Now there's rhythm and sound, making their hearts pound. And part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
Wow. We really struck a nerve out there. Apparently, some huge, remain nameless, isn't too happy with us for telling you you have a better choice. With Star Choice, you get a better television experience. More movies and sports, a better picture, Dolby sound. It's kind of a no-brainer. I guess I'd be nervous too if I was them. Remember, you have a choice. Star Choice. Call us right now.
Whoa, what's happening?
Something's wrong.
Yeah, we're getting shut down.
Where no man has gone before.
8 Wednesday.
Neptune and back in 6 minutes.
The new adventure has begun.
Starfleet seems to think that we're ready to begin our mission. Request permission to get underway.
This is a foolish mission.
The most anticipated new show on television. The first captain. The first crew. The First Trek.
Take her out, Mr. Mayweather.
Enterprise. 8 Wednesday on your Federation station, City TV.
Going a full 12 rounds is all about stamina. That's why I like high endurance deodorant from Old Spice. You know, deodorant protects better and lasts longer because it evaporates more slowly than leading deodorant stick. Want proof? If you're not convinced, Old Spice will buy you a stick of your old stuff. Let me put it this way. High endurance lasts longer than I do. I'm working on that.
That ends this half hour of news on Cable Pulse 24. We'll have your next news update, and there is lots of news this morning in Toronto, coming right up after this break.
In beautiful San Francisco to see what people think about Pert Plus. Have you ladies ever used one of those shampoos and conditioners all in the same bottle?
I don't really like it. Not enough conditioner. I have a lot of hair, and I need a lot of conditioner.
You need a deep conditioning. Just so happens I've got one right there. You see, unlike many 2-in-1 shampoos, Pert Plus has 3 separate formulas, light, medium, and then deep, so that you can choose the right conditioning for you.
I love it. I think it looks great. Wow, it's really shiny.
So, hey, that's Pert Plus, Pert Plus, Pert Plus. Come on, choose your kind. We can change your mind. Excuse me! Excuse me!
We are a city of celebration that plays hard.
2 weeks ago, Raptors didn't have...
A city that stays informed, that enjoys the best the world has to offer. And only one newscast brings it all to you. City Pulse, a day in the life of your city.
protection in your dryer. It helps keep your clothes looking fresh and bright every day. Bounce Color Smart.
This is the day we start the world over. This is a chance for a fresh start today. Doesn't it feel good to make a fresh start today?
Bounce, the start of something fresh.
Morning, you're watching Cable Pulse 24. I'm Cynthia Mulligan. Premier Mike Harris announces his resignation in an often emotional news conference you saw live from Queen's Park just moments ago. We'll be joined live by our political analyst Paul Pellegrini of the Sussex Group with some answers to the questions of what's next for the provincial Conservatives and for Mike Harris. Also, we'll have the latest on this morning's downtown protests. First, though, this live market update from New York.
Good morning. The markets are switched directions now and are trading mostly lower. We have the Dow down by 33 points to 93.13. The NASDAQ is staying positive, but just barely. Only up 1.5 points now. It's trading at 1697, and the S&P 500 is down by about 0.5 point. Johnson & Johnson, one stock today, doing pretty well. It beat its earnings expectations. Good sales of medical devices and prescription drugs helped J&J, and it's up by 78 cents right now. But another Dow company, Caterpillar, fell short, and it's down by almost $1, trading at 47.25. Delta Airlines says it will discontinue its Los Angeles to Japan flight and New York to Japan flight as part of cost-cutting measures. We've got Delta lower by 8 cents to 25.90 a share. The Dow Industrials now down by 36, the NASDAQ up by 0.2, the S&P 500 off by 1 point. Live from the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Jane King. Back to you.
All right, Jane, thank you very much. As you saw live, shortly after 10:30 this morning, Mike Harris has resigned as the Premier of Ontario.
Last night, I delivered to our party president, Dr. Reuben Devlin, a letter asking the party executive to call a leadership election as soon as possible. I spoke to our caucus this morning, and I indicated to them that I will resign as party leader and I will resign as Premier of Ontario upon the election of a new leader of the party. Once our leader is chosen and the new Premier is sworn into office, I will serve the balance of my political career here at Queen's Park the same way as I began, as a member of the legislature representing the people of Nipissing.
The Premier addressed the situation surrounding his personal life, saying his recent reconciliation with his wife Janet was among the personal reasons for his departure, but made it clear his wife was behind him, regardless of his decision.
Well, contrary to a lot of the speculation, and I think it's important for the party in particular to understand that Janet has been with me on the bus in 3 elections. She was quite prepared to be with me on the bus in 3 more elections. She was prepared to travel anywhere in the world and to support me in whatever career decision that I made. So as far as making the decision, she was very positive in encouraging me to do what I wanted to do, and so any suggestion to the contrary is quite wrong. I can assure you of that.
Harris says he came to the conclusion that he had made the right decision about a week ago, as he was flying back to North Bay to be with his family, taking in the scenic colors of Northern Ontario. Harris will stay on as Premier until a leadership election is held, and says he will remain an MPP until the end of his elected term. Harris will be remembered for radically changing the political landscape of the province and its policies, and for winning the first set of back-to-back majority governments in Ontario since the 1960s. In recent months, Harris had dropped to 33% in the popularity polls, his lowest standing, compared to 53% for his Liberal rivals. And again, Harris, though, said that that was not a factor in his decision. Now we're joined live by Paul Pellegrini, who is a political analyst and consultant with the Sussex Strategy Group. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning.
A bit of a bombshell this morning. I mean, it was leaked yesterday, but was anybody expecting this timing from the Premier?
No one was expecting it to happen today. I think some people were speculating before Christmas, maybe in the next month or two. But I guess word got out that he was planning to do it. A reporter got the story, and instead of denying it for the next month or so and then saying he was leaving, he decided to just go with it and tell people. But it was an odd day today with the OCAP protest, him off to New York. I don't think he wanted it to be today, but he certainly had made up his mind over Thanksgiving, as we heard, and why not?
What are the repercussions for his party?
Well, I'd be surprised to hear this, but I actually think the provincial Liberals are going to be better off without Mike Harris. I think Mike Harris still would have been the strongest opponent, despite what the polls say. He's won 2 consecutive majority governments. People respect him for a man who says what he says he's going to do. He does it. And it's very hard to pick a new leader. We're hearing 5 or 6 names right now. Remember when Davis left, Timbro, Grossman, Miller all thought they'd walk into the premiership, and they got defeated. When Trudeau left, you know, Turner was the heir apparent, and he got soundly defeated. It's a very difficult task picking a new leader. Sometimes you're better off to go with what you know, and I actually think Mike Harris would have been the best candidate to take on Dalton McGuinty in the next election.
So potential candidates for his job: Education Minister Janet Ecker, Jim Flaherty, Chris Stockwell. Any other names? Tony Clement,
Chris Stockwell. You know, there's some speculation maybe Tom Long might look at it as well, but I actually think probably someone within the cabinet will win this.
Yeah, Tom Long's not within the cabinet.
They're all good candidates. They're all got good credentials, but there's no sort of standout, as in the federal case, where people might say Paul Martin's the obvious choice to succeed Chrétien. I don't think you see that in the provincial. It's going to be a wide open race. It's going to be an exciting race, and it'll be interesting to see who wins that.
Absolutely. What are the implications federally? I mean, this is the Premier of Ontario, the strongest province in the country. He's had a testy relationship with the federal liberals at times. What do you think the implications are there?
I think we'll probably, during the leadership race, see a lot of Fed bashing with some of the candidates, because that's always a popular thing to do. I think it might, maybe the Prime Minister might reflect on things as well in this time, but I don't think there'll be much change. I mean, there's always been sort of a love-hate relationship between Ontario and Ottawa. Basically, you know, he's going to be remembered, Harris, for his record on the economy. During his time as Premier, the Ontario economy not only was the strongest in Canada and North America, but the strongest in the G7. And I think that's what his legacy is going to be. It's going to be on the economy. People are going to talk about, you know, what about health, education, social programs. He was there turning the Ontario economy around since '95 after the Ray days. That's really what his legacy is going to be.
Do you think he denied it, but do you think that he's stepping down before he has to? His popularity is low. They just lost a crucial two by-elections. Do you think that he's stepping down before he's forced out?
The Vaughan King Aurora one was one they held. The Beaches one they never held, so really only lost one. But he could stay, I think, but I don't know whether he had the sort of the fire in the belly, as they say. You know,
he's taken a lot of criticism in since the last election, that he hasn't really been around a lot and been all that interested.
He has a young family. We hear he's getting back with his wife. You know, been in politics 20 years. I mean, I respect politicians that say, you know what, I've done my thing, it's time to go. Too often we see people in politics and sports and other venues staying on beyond their time.
Could we refer to somebody federally right now who might be doing that?
I won't. But, you know, it's a really tough thing to do to leave. I'm sure it's, you know, it's probably the second best job in the country after being Prime Minister. And, you know, maybe speculation will start about him returning to politics one day federally. But I think he's left after 2 consecutive majority government victories. You've got to respect that. And, you know, for family reasons, which could mean a lot of things, not only the wife, the kids, but just personal time, he's decided now's the time. He's given the party a lot of time to get a new leader. Next spring we hear will be the convention. And it's important for a new premier to get to know the Ontario electorate a bit better, to be seen as premier material, to govern for a year or so before he calls an election. It's very difficult to go from a leadership convention into a general election. Right. It's good to have some time to connect with the people of Ontario.
What kind of moves? The Premier didn't say what he wanted to do next, but certainly he has a lot of options.
He has definitely a lot of options. You saw from his finance minister, Ernie Eves, going into the corporate world.
Far more lucrative options, I might add, than being in political life.
You know, 7-figure lucrative. But the Premier will obviously be able to go onto many corporate boards if he wants. He'll probably be able to do a lot of high-profile charitable work. I mean, I don't think he's going to need to worry about that. There'll be a lot of offers for him. He was good to Bay Street. Bay Street likes him a lot. And, you know, maybe he has to do some things for the public service again. So I think he's got a great future ahead of him. He's young, and he'll be able to, you know, live in North Bay if he wants, live in Toronto, whatever he wants to do.
What about these protests today?
The most ridiculous sense of timing I've ever seen. I mean, to target the financial district so soon after September 11th, you know, public opinion drives policy change. And if these people wanted to get policy changes done, they have to win over public opinion. And today I think they lost it all. It was the wrong timing. These people should have rethought that and come back another day, even next year. I mean, why today? There was no need for it, and I think they've hurt their cause.
The next Premier, whoever replaces Premier Harris, is going to have to deal with the growing wave of discontent, with the growing number of people living on the streets and in poverty. Do you think the next person will be forced to address that?
I think they will be. I think there will be an opportunity through the leadership contest to get all the leadership aspirants to spell out what their social policies are going to be. And, you know, now we're at a time when obviously there's a need to address those concerns. The economy is in better shape, and we can do that now. And I think these people who are protesting today should work within the political system to encourage these leadership candidates to bring their issues forward. I mean, that's the way you change policy. You don't do it on the streets of Bay Street today the way they've done it. You do it through the political process.
Now, it is shortly after September 11th to have a protest like that, but do you think the timing is bad for the Premier of Ontario to leave when everybody is feeling rather vulnerable and up in the air?
Well, I think it's good news that he said he's staying, though, until next spring. I mean, he's not actually leaving today, and there'll be an interim Premier. He'll still be the Premier. I think that's good for the economy. I think it's good for Ontario. So I'm happy to hear that he's staying until at least the leadership convention, which at the earliest will probably be next May or something like that.
Do you think Dalton McGuinty is kicking up his heels as we speak?
I think he should be happier than he was yesterday because, you know, Mike Harris beat him once, and, you know, he'll have a new opponent, totally green. You know, it's going to be a little more difficult, I think, to necessarily fill those shoes. So I think he should be better off after today.
Do you think the province is staying? Do they still want these conservative reforms that we've seen over the past 6 years, or do you think the Ontario public has had enough?
I don't know if they've had enough. I mean, they're happy that the taxes have been reduced. They're happy that the budgets are balanced.
But
they
they're
do
unhappy with education and health care
They are,
right
and
now.
they want to see those two items addressed. And I think that now that the fiscal house is in order, and we hope that the slowdown will go away as quickly as possible, that they want those areas addressed. They want social housing addressed. They want transportation issues addressed. And that'll be a challenge for these leadership candidates to bring those issues forward. I think the public wants to see that now. But, you know, they've had 4 or 5 years of tax cuts and balanced budgets, and now they want to see some money being spent on education and health care.
All right, Paul, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
We'll have a lot to talk about in the future months.
We will.
Thank you. And as we said, hundreds of anti-poverty protesters caused traffic gridlock in downtown Toronto this morning, but failed in their goal of shutting down the city's financial district on Bay Street. The protesters assembled early this morning, long before daylight, and police in riot gear were out in full force to greet them. The protest is being organized and led by the Ontario Coalition Against Poverty, OCAP for short. There have been several minor clashes with police, but so far, no real violence. The demonstrators tipped over mail and newspaper boxes and spray painted some buildings. At this point, police appear to be trying to box in the protesters in order to convince them to disperse. Toronto Police Chief Julian Fantino calls the protest, quote, organized crime at its best. He says people don't bring slingshots and weapons to a peaceful demonstration. One report says as many as 50 protesters have been taken into custody. Meanwhile, some groups of protesters are presently marching towards Queen's Park. And this protest has caused traffic gridlock and chaos on the downtown streets of Toronto. Live to Bob Summers in the Chum FM newsroom for more. Good morning, Bob.
Hey, Cynthia, not only on the surface, but also underneath, just getting word of, we had a problem that had completely shut down trains on the Yonge subway. Well, the good news is TTC, they have just cleared the problem, so train service on the subway line, the Yonge subway between Yonge and Bloor and Union is just now resuming. So a little bit of good news there. In the meantime, last check, we still had University completely closed off between Dundas and Queen's Park. Now the rest of it, we'll take a look at some of what's doing, including exit ramp from the Gardner eastbound to Spadina. Now this one during the peak of all of the action this morning, and this one here getting off at Jarvis were both badly backed up. Result of the mid-morning lull, both of those look to be in pretty good shape right at the moment. MTO cameras getting a look at the 401 near the 400. Here's the bottom end of the 400. All of that not so bad right at the moment. Still really slow here though. Southbound on the 404 onto the Don Valley Parkway, off and on right down to the other side of Lawrence. You can see that we still have one heck of a lot of traffic there. It does look better than what it did. And northbound right at the moment, not so bad. So the real problem spot, remember, University worth avoiding between Dundas and Queen's Park. Apart from that, Cynthia, not so bad.
All right, Bob, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're going to take a short break now here on Cable Pulse 24. World News is up next. Another day of strikes in Afghanistan.
Hey, watch it! Where'd you get your license? The lady store! What are you doing on the road? Open your eyes! Come on, move it!
More facts of protection from Always. We face up to 160 different choices in the store. Wrong pad, wrong protection. Always make sure you get what's right for you. Start with your absorbency needs. Check the colored bands. Regular is the lightest. Super means more. Overnight, the most. Choose regular, super, or overnight. You'll get what's right for you. And that's always the best protection. Always expect more.
New Cascade scent expressions are heat activated to release a fresh aroma into the air while doing the dishes. It can make your kitchen quite inviting. Scent expressions, new from Cascade.
Jim, you love me, right?
Of course.
More than that furry green chair.
Say, Jim, about the furry green chair? Set it free. Pier 1, set the table. Feel the love. Trendy, romantic. Trendy, romantic.
Hurry in and save 20 to 40% during our bedroom sale.
Purple sage.
A one-of-a-kind experience at Pier 1.
It's working. Jim's not a bad man. He just had bad taste.
Get in touch with your senses.
In beautiful San Francisco to see what people think about Pert Plus. Have you ladies ever used one of those shampoos and conditioners all in the same bottle?
I don't really like it. Not enough conditioner. I have a lot of hair, and I need a lot of conditioner.
You need a deep conditioner. Just so happens I've got one right there. See, unlike many 2-in-1 shampoos, Pert Plus has 3 separate formulas, light, medium, and then deep, so that you can choose the right conditioning for you.
I love it. I think it looks great.
Wow, it's really shiny.
So, hey, that's Pert Plus, Pert Plus, Pert Plus. Come on, choose your kind. We can change your mind. Excuse me! Excuse me!
An attractive, healthy smile will impress people more than what you wear or drive. I'm Dr. Mark Coachman, and for more than 20 years, I've been helping people become healthier, happier, and more confident through dental implants and cosmetic dentistry. At the Coachman Dental Center, it is through the unique combination of art and science that we can attain your utmost satisfaction and smile perfection. The first step is to call. I know I can help you achieve the ultimate smile you deserve.
You can choose to fight the appearance of lines and wrinkles, or you can fight the appearance of pores, blotches, tone, texture, dryness, and the look of lines and wrinkles. Total Effects with an advanced formula. It fights not 1, but 7 signs of aging. Difficult choice. Total Effects from Olay.
Officials have shut down an entire wing of an 8-story Senate office building in Washington. That's after new tests confirmed there was an anthrax in a letter sent to Senate Majority Leader Tom Daschle's office. As a precaution, several hundred people will be treated and tested for possible exposure. A police spokesman says all mail delivery has been suspended in the Capitol complex, while authorities put new security measures in place. And a U.S. bomb has hit a compound belonging to the International Committee of the Red Cross in northern Kabul. A Taliban spokesperson says an Afghan guard was injured and 2 depots containing wheat and other humanitarian supplies were destroyed. Keep it here on Cable Pulse 24 for further details. And U.S. warplanes have also intensified daytime airstrikes near the Afghan capital of Kabul, and British battleships continue a relentless flurry of cruise missile strikes on Afghan military targets. Coalition forces say the bold daytime raids involve some 50 U.S. Navy strike jets and 10 Air Force bombers. The attacks are all said to be focused away from the cities and in areas where Taliban troops and equipment are stationed. Meanwhile, anti-Taliban forces in the Northern Alliance have reportedly advanced to within 5 kilometers of a major airport in Mazar-e Sharif. Another airport in Jalalabad in eastern Afghanistan was knocked out of commission in the first days of the campaign by U.S. bombers. U.S. Secretary of State Colin Powell ends talks this morning with Pakistani President Pervez Musharraf. The two discussed military strikes in Afghanistan, as well as ways to resolve Pakistan's dispute with India over the troubled region of Kashmir. And Japan's government approves a bill that would let its military provide non-combat support to the U.S.-led strikes on Afghanistan. It's hoped the bill will be enacted by next month. We're going to take a short break here on Cable Pulse 24. Keep it right here for any new developments in the war on terrorism. Coming up after the break, Tech Talk with Vijay Del Conte, and David Onley is here with your next news update after that. I'm Cynthia Mulligan. That's it for me. Have a good morning.
Two sides are better than one. Take these new facial cleansing cloths from Noxema. They're two-sided for one incredible deep clean. Just add water. The soft side creates a deep action foam. The other textured side removes dirt, oil, and makeup for a deep clean down to your pores. With Noxema, two sides are better. New Noxema's cleansing cloths. Two sides, too clean.
Talk is brought to you by Dedalian, internet solutions that work the first time.
Now, in today's somewhat shrinking economy, organizations are being forced to cut operating costs in order to maintain their financial health. Now, this shrinkage is making it necessary to boost efficiencies and streamline business processes. Joining us to explain the value chain is Colin Vienna, Associate Director with TELUS Enterprise Solutions. Good morning, Colin. Good morning. Now, tell us how this goes. I mean, how technology, I guess, can be used to improve efficiencies, boost value, this kind of thing.
Well, as we know, the value chain is looked at upon from a material flow from supplier to the customer. Where technology comes in is in the utilization of web enablement to communicate between supplier, producer, and customer.
So is the emphasis on the instantaneous nature of it, as opposed to sending a fax or a memo that you can, hit the button and get the information to the person?
As making the decision, she was very positive in encouraging me to do what I wanted to do, and so any suggestion to the contrary is quite wrong. I can assure you of that.
Harris says he came to the conclusion that he made the right decision about 1 week ago as he was flying back to North Bay to be with his family, taking in the scenic colors of Northern Ontario. Harris will stay on as Premier until a leadership election is held and says he will remain an MPP until the end of his elected term. Harris will be remembered for radically changing the political landscape of the province and its policies, and for winning the first back-to-back majority governments in Ontario since the 1960s. In recent months, Harris had dropped to 33% in the popularity polls, his lowest standing, compared to 53% for his Liberal rivals. Reaction minutes after the Harris announcement from Liberal leader Dalton McGuinty. We'll play some of that unedited video for you right now.
Some people say that it would have been easier for you to fight a next election against Mr. Harris, given his baggage. Do you agree?
This is Mr. Harris's day. All right, he served in public life for some 20 years, and I offer him my very best wishes as he's made a decision to return to private life, and I particularly offer him and his Family, and my very best wishes.
Dalton, who would you most like to face in the next election? Jim Flaherty, Tony Clement, Janet Eckert?
This is Mr. Harris's day, and I want to focus my comments on Mr. Harris.
En français, Monsieur
McGuinty. C'est la journée pour Monsieur Harris. J'offre mes meilleurs vœux à Monsieur Harris, une personne qui a desservi la population de l'Ontario pendant 20 ans. Il a pris la décision de retourner à une vie privée. Et je lui offre mes meilleurs vœux.
Are you surprised by today's developments?
Well, it was not entirely unanticipated, but I think the important thing today is to offer our best wishes to a man who has served the province in the way that he saw fit for the last 20 years. His vision is markedly different from mine, but there'll be lots of time to elaborate on that.
Given that you're only talking about Mr. Harris today, how would you characterize his tenure as Premier? Was he a good Premier, a bad Premier? What would you say?
Well, his vision, again, is decidedly different from mine, and but I wish him the very best.
Dalton, what is the government losing today?
Mr. Harris has made a decision to return to private life, and I think the appropriate thing to do is to offer him our best wishes, particularly as he returns to spending more time with his family, something that I can well understand.
Dalton, you said
McGuinty taking the diplomatic route in his analysis. Political analyst and consultant Paul Pellegrini believes that today's decision by Mike Harris, in fact, will likely mean good news for the Ontario Liberal Party.
I think Mike Harris still would have been the strongest opponent, despite what the polls say. He's won 2 consecutive majority governments. People respect him for a man who says what he says he's going to do. He does it. And it's very hard to pick a new leader. We're hearing 5 or 6 names right now. Remember when Davis left, Timbro, Grossman, Miller all thought they'd walk into the premiership, and they got defeated. When Trudeau left, Turner was the heir apparent, and he got soundly defeated. It's a very difficult task picking a new leader. Sometimes you're better off to go with what you know, and I actually think Mike Harris would have been the best candidate to take on Dalton McGuinty in the next election.
Watch for more reaction to Premier Mike Harris's resignation on City Pulse at noon. An anti-poverty protest that caused gridlock in the heart of Toronto's financial district is over. The protesters assembled early this morning, long before daylight, and police in riot gear were out in full force. The demonstrators tipped over mail and newspaper boxes and sprayed paint on some buildings. As many as 50 protesters were taken into custody. Toronto Police Chief Julian Fantino called the protest organized crime at its best. He says people don't bring slingshots and weapons to a peaceful demonstration. Officers say that along with the slingshots, they confiscated rocks, sticks, 2x4s, and even materials that may have been intended to make Molotov cocktails. For the most part, the clashes captured on our City Pulse cameras between police officers and protesters have been relatively minor. However, what we are about to show you is significantly more serious, so please be advised if you have small children watching. This event occurred earlier this morning at the corner of King and Bay near the Bank of Montreal building.
Watch your back, Tim. Watch your back. Watch your back. Watch your back. Let go of it. Watch your back.
The man is believed to be a protester. It appears from this vantage point that he suffered injuries when he was knocked to the ground. The man seemed to be dazed as he sat up and was attended to by Toronto police officers. It's not known if he required medical attention, and we do not know at this time the nature of his injuries, nor do we know the seriousness of them. Toronto Police Chief Julian Fantino said officers were well prepared and well organized for whatever came their way.
If anyone thinks that we're here wasting our time, all you have to do is look at the weapons we've already seized, the pieces of pipe and rocks and a whole assortment of implements, sticks and so forth that are clearly intended to attack our police officers and our horses, and that's just not going to be allowed. We learned our lesson very well from times gone by, and we've been very diligent about researching and analyzing and assessing what is planned here today, and I'm not going to stand by and have our city taken into the kinds of situations where we've experienced in the past, and we are here to ensure that safety be maintained, and we're going to preserve that at all costs.
A lot of people are questioning that the number of police present or the weapons. What do you say to these people?
I'd say that they're not running the police department. I am.
Chief, protesters would say that they have a right to a lawful protest, which includes being able to march down the streets, even in the financial district.
Well, then they shouldn't bring rocks and sticks and tear gas and masks and other implements. If you're going to carry out a lawful demonstration, I don't think you need those kinds of weapons and tools that are obviously intended to do other than a lawful demonstration.
Can you talk about the letter that you sent to the leaders in the light of September 11th?
Well, I think it's an absolute disgrace that we face this kind of situation at a very traumatic time in the history of society generally after the 11th of September. We're run off our feet as it is now, trying to deal with all kinds of issues and a very elevated concern in the community. For them to pick this date at this time is absolutely irresponsible, as it is coming here with weapons and all of that.
We'll have a full report for you on City Pulse at noon. We will take this break and then be right back. Stay with us.
You've probably heard how AOL makes using the internet easy. With our easy email, you've got mail. And our unique AOL keyword feature. What you may not know is that AOL makes getting connected easy. Call now and we'll send you this free CD. Just pop it in your computer and with a few clicks, you're ready to go. And it's all just $22.95 a month with unlimited usage. You'll even get 3 months free. There's never been a better time to get online.
Early light breaks through. Music and dance calling you. Neat Folgers aromatic lift before you share your gift. Now there's rhythm and sound, making their hearts pound. And part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
Welcome back. New numbers suggest that the power poles propping up the ailing economy are weathering the storm. The Canadian Real Estate Association says home sales remain brisk, with overall prices continuing to rise. While the numbers cooled in September after a record-setting August, sales are up 7% year over year, and prices rose 2%. Consumer spending has also been propping up the economy, and the Retail Council of Canada says Halloween-related sales should match last year's spending of about $700 million. The degree of economic cooling is made clear by the flood of earnings hitting the streets. Auto parts giant Delphi says third quarter profits tumbled 82% as Daimler, Chrysler, GM, and Ford curtailed production. Meanwhile, consumer electronics maker Royal Philips expects to post its first unprofitable year since 1996. As the demand
since revolution and all that it has done. As a father, I can honestly say that we've given our children, including my two sons, Michael and Jeffrey, a better future, full of opportunities. And at the end of the day, on balance, it's your gut kind of tells you what you think is best for Mike Harris. And then timing what's best for the party, what's best for the province. And there's always a combination of those factors, and I made a very personal decision.
Premier Harris will stay on as Premier until a leadership convention is held. That is expected to happen within the next 6 months. He also said until the next election, he will remain the MPP in his home riding of Nipissing. As for the opposition, they were as shocked as we were this morning. Here's what they had to say just moments after his announcement.
I think the important thing today is to offer our best wishes to a man who has served the province in the way that he saw fit for the last 20 years. His vision is markedly different from mine, but there'll be lots of time to elaborate on that.
I'm not surprised at all. I've said for some time that a number of the issues, particularly Walkerton and Ipperwash, were starting to wear on the Premier's personal credibility. So I'm not surprised at this. In fact, I had suggested earlier this fall that he would make a decision by Christmas.
And a very busy day for Premier Harris. He's now on his way to New York for a tour of Ground Zero with Governor George Pataki. Adam Vaughn, our political specialist, will be receiving him there. He'll have the latest on this story, and there are, of course, many stories to come out of this. I'll be telling you just who are the contenders to take this party forward, Lara.
All right, well, let's talk about that for a moment, Alex. Who's in the wings? Perhaps Education Minister Janet Ecker, Environment Minister Elizabeth Whitmer. Who else is waiting in the wings?
Well, there's some very high-profile portfolios that could take this position at any time. Of course, you mentioned Janet Ecker and Whitmer. There's also Finance Minister Jim Flaherty, as well as Labour Minister Chris Stockwell, who are also possibilities for this position. Now, we talked to them just moments before we came to air, and all of them said that today is not the day to discuss it, but of course, in pushing them forward to tell them that the voters are going to want to know who's going to take over this position, they did mention that whoever does take over Premier Harris's position will have very big shoes to fill in carrying forward the common sense revolution. Of course, we'll have more on this story for you tonight at 6. Until then, I'm Alex Pearson reporting live from Queen's Park. Now back to you in the newsroom.
All right, thank you for that, Alex. And Kevin now has our other top story of the day. Kevin?
Laurie, protesting the policies of the Mike Harris government, hundreds of anti-poverty activists attempted to shut down Toronto's financial district this morning. Demonstrators fake their way through the downtown core, attempting to get through police blockades and tie up traffic. This protest was organized by the Ontario Coalition Against Poverty. Dwight Drummond has been there since the beginning, before 6 o'clock this morning, and has the latest for us now. Dwight, what is the latest?
Well, Kevin, we're here at a rally organized by the Toronto Mobilization for Global Justice. They were part of this morning's rally. Police have arrived here en masse across the street from this rally, and just like this morning, they were prepared for the gathering. They've had dealings with OCAPs and these splinter groups in the past, including the melee at Queen's Park in June of 2000, and this morning's protest was not without incident.
feel that we have a right to protest. We feel that we have a right to march. But basically what we're doing here is very similar to a strike. We're going to be distributing information and we're going to be picketing. And that's all we have planned. We have no weapons with us. We're not terrorists. We're activists.
I think it's an absolute disgrace that we face this kind of situation at a very traumatic time in the history of society generally after the 11th of September. We're run off our feet as it is now. If anyone thinks that we're here wasting our time, all you have to do is look at the weapons we've already seized, the pieces of pipe and rocks and a whole assortment of implements.
And we've just got word that police are starting to shut down traffic here in front. You can see the police officers across the street. Protesters have been jeering them from across here. Just when you think things are winding down, Kevin, they seem to be escalating again. Back to the newsroom.
All right, thank you very much for that, Dwight. And Toronto officers may have averted some of the violence today. I was with my camera on the way into work this morning around 5 when they made the first arrests.
What are you planning on doing with the gas mask?
It's defensive. It's not a weapon.
Actually, it's around 4 this morning. The police seized gas masks, body armor, and materials that could be used to make Molotov cocktails. 5 men here from Quebec for the protest. They were arrested at Simcoe in front, all scheduled to appear in court later today.
And we have tape just back this hour. Mayor Mel Lastman says OCAP did not succeed in taking Toronto hostage.
Today, OCAP failed. They did not shut down our city. They did not shut down our financial district as promised, nor will they ever. But these paid political protesters have caused a lot of damage in attempting to hold our city hostage.
There may be celebrations on the streets as anti-poverty protesters learn of the Premier's resignation. But how do you feel about the end of the Mike Harris era? That's our focus on today's City Online.
I'm David Onley. The Mike Harris era is quickly coming to an end, and we'd like to hear from you all about it. Give us a call at 416-870-7716 or 1-800-295-5463 to tell us how you feel about the Premier's resignation this morning. How do you think the Tories will be remembered under Harris's leadership? Is Ontario a better place because of his leadership? And who would be your choice to replace him? Join us as we talk live with CUPE Ontario President Sid Ryan. He ran unsuccessfully against a Tory candidate in the last election. He's got a lot of interesting perspectives. And don't forget our phone poll. Did Ontario improve under Mike Harris's leadership? If you say yes, call 416-870-2242. If you say no, 416-870-4424. I'll have the results and your live calls right after City Pulse at noon. Kevin?
Thank you, David. The federal Liberals unveiling their anti-terrorism campaign as Bill C-38 is debated long into the night. The legislation gives police greater powers to wiretap and to intercept communications. Police will be able to arrest and detain suspects up to 72 hours without laying charges. The bill also imposes jail time for participants in terrorist groups and for fundraisers for these organizations. The Prime Minister urged the House to pass the legislation quickly for the safety of all Canadians. But the Capitol also struck by anthrax anxiety yesterday after a woman opening mail in the center block, home of the Commons in the Senate, developed a rash on her arm. Another woman in the East Block developed a similar rash. Both women tested negative for anthrax. Officials now think the women had a minor reaction to contact with a chemical on Parliament Hill. The first American aircraft outfitted with reinforced cockpit doors is taking flight. JetBlue Airways installing Kevlar bulletproof anti-ballistic proof doors. Security regulations require pilots to lock them from the inside and keep them closed from takeoff until landing. JetBlue's entire fleet will have the reinforced doors by the end of October at a cost of about $10,000 a plane. And a Burnaby man could be extradited to the U.S. because of alleged links to Hezbollah, a designated foreign terrorist group. 35-year-old man was arrested by the RCMP on the weekend. A North Carolina grand jury indicted the man in March on charges of conspiracy to provide cash, night vision goggles, and other equipment. He could be facing up to 10 years in jail. Lori?
To the battlefront of the U.S. war on terrorism now, as the American military unleashes its harshest daytime raids yet. Multiple massive explosions today on the outskirts of Kabul as Kandahar and Jalalabad remain locked in U.S. bomb sites. Today, a Special Forces C-130 gunship was used to pound Taliban headquarters. Experts say the use of the turboprop aircraft as a gunship is a lead-in to ground action. The C-130s are normally used to provide close support for troops. U.S. Secretary of State Colin Powell is in South Asia, shoring up support for the U.S.-led attacks on Afghanistan. Powell arrived in New Delhi a short while ago to meet with Indian officials. He's urging both India and Pakistan to resume their dialogue and seek a peaceful solution over the Kashmir region, which both countries claim. Earlier today, Powell was in Pakistan and thanked that government for its support on the war on terrorism.
That we have no quarrel with the Islamic faith or the Afghan people. Our campaign is against those who pervert a great religion in the service of evil.
We should focus not only on combating terrorism, but also on helping the Afghans establish a durable political system.
Meanwhile, militant groups in the Pakistan-held section of Kashmir held a protest against Powell's visit and the U.S.-led attacks. The demonstrators vow to pursue their armed struggle in Kashmir. And during today's raids, a U.S. bomb hit a Red Cross compound in northern Kabul. The explosion killed an Afghani guard and destroyed 2 depots of human aid. And initial reports say that the roof of the building was marked with a Red Cross symbol. Kevin?
Well, let's find out what's happening with all the protests designed to try and shut down the financial district. Well, they keep on trading at the TSC. In fact, the TSC is shrugging off some of the earnings reports out of the U.S. as we continue in with earnings reporting season. And it is actually on the positive side of this hour, about a third of a percent higher on the TSC right now, up 23 points. However, they are not shrugging off those earnings in the U.S. The Dow Jones is off 39 points right now, and the NASDAQ is off, but only about 3 1/4. The delay of a price-fixing hearing has Air Canada's competitors crying foul. Rivals WestJet and now defunct CanJet complained to the Competition Tribunal last year. They accuse Air Canada of offering tickets at prices below the cost of providing the service. The tribunal says its ruling will be on hold for 6 months to allow Air Canada time to sort out its financial problems. WestJet calls the decision offensive. And another Canadian airline putting cash on its Christmas wish list. Canada 3000 says unless Ottawa provides loan guarantees to help it through the next few weeks, it could run out by year's end. The carrier can't get a line of credit and business is down 50%. Canada 3000 expected to get about $15 million of federal money promised to the airline industry, but as chairman says, minus taxes, it'll be closer to only $5 million. And Toronto-based Brookfield Properties is in talks to redevelop the destroyed World Trade Center complex in New York. Brookfield owns most of the World Financial Center near the Trade Center site. Its deputy chairman met with the WTC's leaseholder last week. Brookfield is floating ideas about an underground tunnel connecting the financial center with a future WTC. An architect has been hired.
Kind of dismal and gray out there after yesterday's sunshine. Let's get a quick preview of the weather. Peter Gross is live on Queen. Hi, Peter.
Laura, yeah, it's cloudy right now. The sun's sort of popping in and out of clouds. We've got 11 degrees in Toronto, and this is about as good as it's going to get for the next 24, 36 hours. Got winds coming out of the east. They're going to start coming out of the north, making it much cooler. And we're also going to get some rain off and on, so I'll have the whole drizzly forecast a little later in the show. Let's go inside now to Hugh and an early look at sports.
Thanks, Pete. Coming up in sports, the Yankees go from the brink of elimination to the next round of the baseball playoffs, and Dallas and Washington in the Monday Nighter. Somebody had to win. But first, back over to Lori and Kev, guys.
Together again.
Yeah.
Did you have a nice vacation?
I did, and I got a cold just after it's over.
You were partying, weren't you?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
It's good to be back. Good to be back.
Well, we told you about the Premier's resignation earlier in the show, and when we come back, reaction from Mayor Lastman.
And excuse me, how far will you go to avoid contact with
Not
germs?
far enough.
We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Get that away.
At GM Good Wrench Service, we know you have better things to do than spend your time in a garage.
Mr. Taylor, your car's ready. Oh, thanks.
Your GM Good Wrench dealer carries all kinds of brand name tires. And now, during our all-in-one tire event, get installation, balancing, lifetime rotations, and a great warranty from just $69.95. Good Wrench Service at your GM dealer. Right on time.
Today I will wait in traffic.
I'll wait 5 minutes for the elevator.
I will wait 41 minutes to find out there's nothing wrong.
I'll wait for the light to turn green.
I will wait 65 minutes for clean clothes.
I will wait for my son to move out.
I will not wait to download videos of my new niece.
I will not wait for the internet.
I will not wait for the internet.
Order Rogers at home now and get a $120 rebate. Offer extended to November 15th.
TD Canada Trust, knowing what you need begins with knowing who you are. Banking can be this comfortable. TD Canada Trust.
Win more with the new KFC Chicken Scratch game. You could scratch your way to one of 10 huge $1 million prizes, and there's millions more in cash and food. Every card's a winner. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Reaction to Premier Mike Harris's resignation this morning, this time just a few minutes ago from Mayor Mel Lastman.
Well, I've not always agreed with Mike Harris. We've had our moments, but our relationship has improved greatly since he announced the funding of the TTC. Not enough, but some, you know, and it's a great help. His commitment to the waterfront has never wavered, and for that, I've always been grateful.
Now, Alex Pearson will have more on Harris's decision to step down and who's in the running for his job tonight on City Pulse at 6 as well. We'll have more on City Online. Lori?
Okay, well, anthrax fears are playing on one of our most fundamental anxieties, infection by a serious disease. In the first of a 5-part series on less serious germs, we'll look at their breeding grounds in public places, especially the bathroom.
I'm a germphobe.
This is what we worry about.
Everything is pretty gross when you think about it.
Everywhere we go, we're surrounded by germs. We're breathing them in all the time, touching them every day. And obviously, this isn't the solution. But some people have some pretty creative ways of keeping infection at bay.
If I go in the bus or the train, I take a piece of Kleenex and I hold the metal there.
Wow.
Because, you know, you sit there and you watch people that pick their nose and they hold on to the post. So I always be careful what I touch.
Touching the button on the washroom dryer or the handle of the toilet, I mean, you don't know how often those things really get cleaned, do you?
I have a lot of germ phobias. Definitely. I even have a rash on my hand from washing my hand too much with antibacterial soap.
Germ phobia is so prevalent that it's become part of our North American culture, and it makes us laugh.
Did you take that book with you into the bathroom?
What do you want to hear?
That book has been on a wild ride. George took it into the bathroom.
Everyone's clear. Biohazard coming through.
Even those among you who aren't germ-phobic are pretty wary around this place. This is the public toilet, folks. And how many of you do this to flush?
I just push it down with my foot.
You don't want to touch it.
Don't want to touch anything to do with that. You know?
I flush the toilet with my foot. I grab the door with my sweater.
You don't sit on the bathroom seat?
No, I squat.
I squat. Now, the voice of reason. Renowned microbiologist Dr. Allison McGeer says most germs are nothing to fear.
As long as you don't put your hand in your mouth, nothing bad is going to happen to you because they're just on your hands. Okay, so even if other people do foul things, as long as you wash your hands regularly and keep them out of your mouth, you'll still be fine.
Even if other people don't wash their hands after using the washroom, the risk to you is minimal.
Yeah, it's gross and people shouldn't do it, but most of the time it's not going to cause trouble because they're going to walk around touching things and the bacteria are going to come off and the bacteria are going to die. And as long as after you've touched them, you wash your hands before you put them up to your face, you'll still be fine.
As Dr. McGeer is fond of saying, germs are everywhere, and they're meant to be. Still, what kind of bacteria are you encountering when you use a public phone, the gym, or change your baby's diaper? That's what we're going to find out. Well, here we are in Germ Central. This is the microbiology lab on the 14th floor of Mount Sinai Hospital. And this is where we're going to be picking up our test kit. Now, this is the fridge, and hi, Dr. McGeer.
Hi there.
Okay, what is this stuff that you're giving me?
This is just broth that grows bacteria really well.
We picked up a few of those, plus some sterile cotton swabs. Okay, great. I'm all set. And do you have any money on you?
Okay, just a second.
Oh, yeah, get
Sorry,
your
I just don't
germs
want to give you
away
my
from me.
coals.
Okay,
Here.
ever wonder how many germs are on your money?
Who cares?
That's what we're going to be looking at in part 2 of my series. And, you know, that's only on City, only at 6.
Well, there's always that talk about those candies that you find at cash registers in restaurants.
With urine
With
on
possibly, I don't know who made that study, or even if it's true, or whether it's an urban myth. Or...
I've done this whole thing before, and what I have learned in studying this issue is bacteria don't like to live on dry surfaces. So it's, you know, even if there are bacteria there, they die off pretty quickly. They don't like it when it's dry. They like nice, moist surfaces.
All right.
Okay, so we'll see what's on the money.
We'll see that tonight at 6.
Okay.
Stay with us. We'll have your baseball highlights, and in entertainment, the Love Cruise.
Say that very well.
The cold helps Love Cruise.
Love Cruise.
Comes to shore tonight on City TV.
Well, first a look at your unofficial lottery numbers. Get them anytime on our City Pulse website at pulse24.com, and here are the latest for you now. Love.
Only 2 days remain until the ticket sales deadline in the Princess Margaret Hospital Foundation Cash and Cars Lottery. Only 2 days for your chance at 5 $1 million cash grand prizes, plus thousands of other cash prizes and 100 spectacular cars. Cash and Cars Lottery will support cancer research at Princess Margaret Hospital. Only 2 days remain. Don't miss out. Call now.
Look at that! You may as well be taking a plane, huh?
Well, I guess I'll be on my way.
Try leave some for the next guy!
To save fuel and lots of it, take a close look at the 2002 Civic from Honda.
Throw away those old-fashioned cleaners. Introducing Supertech's amazing microfiber, the miracle cloth that cleans and polishes chrome, eliminates watermarks like magic. Completely washable, there's a supersized microfiber for those big jobs, too. Imagine no streaks, no smears. Plus, it's so incredibly absorbent. As an added bonus, you get microfiber optical for delicate jobs. All 4 amazing microfiber cloths, only $14.99 from Supertech.
Available at Zellers, Home Outfitters, participating Co-op, Value Master, True Value, Stedman's V&S, Home Hardware, and Walmart.
How does the team's Jim Van Horn know so much about sports?
Let the championship series get underway. Hugh joins us with a baseball roundup. Hugh?
Thanks, Kev. A duel in the desert this afternoon in Game 1 of the National League Championship Series. Greg Maddux for the Braves up against Randy Johnson of the D-backs. These guys combined for 38 wins this season, but Johnson has lost his last 7 playoff decisions. Last night, Roger Clemens got the start for the Yanks in Game 5 against the A's. Second inning, Oakland makes it 2-0 when Jeremy Giambi singles through the right side. That will score Terrence Long. Bottom of the second, Yanks storm back. Bases loaded, Soriano singles to left. Posada and Spencer touch home, and we're tied. On to the third, bases loaded again. Scott Brocious hits one on the ground that Chavez loses the handle on. Williams scores, the Yankees lead. New York up 5-3 in the 8th inning when Derek Jeter goes above and beyond on the long foul ball. Check this out. Not bad. Jeter also had 2 hits to pass Pete Rose in the all-time playoff hit list. Bottom of the 9th, Rivera gets burned swinging. Yanks win the game 5-3 and the series 3-2. Yankees will play the Mariners for the 2nd straight year in the ALCS. That's because Seattle took care of Cleveland yesterday. Sasaki getting Gonzalez to end the game. Mariners win 3-1, take the series 3-2. Game 1 of the American League Championship Series goes tomorrow in Seattle. Here's the best hit of the night, the Monday Nighter, courtesy the horse on Dallas kicker Tim Cedar. This game featured everything, very little of it good. Fumbles, missed field goals, dropped passes. Oh yeah, it gets worse. Intercepted passes, overthrown passes, overrun referees. Finally, the time running out, Cedar nails the 26-yarder to beat the Redskins 9-7. 9-7. Cowboys' first win of the year. Skins fall to 0-5. The Maple Leafs begin a western swing in Edmonton tonight. Reports suggest coach and general manager Pat Quinn about to get a contract extension and a raise, which could pay him anywhere between $2 and $2.5 million a year. Hey, Minnesota is the NHL's lone unbeaten team after the Habs lost their first last night to the Rangers. First period, Montreal on the power play. Savage to Surrey, who hammers it by 18-year-old rookie Dan Blackburn. 6 minutes later, Blue Shirts tied up when Fleury comes out of nowhere. 1-1. Second period. Here's the game winner. Here's the game winner. Dvorak is there to fire home the puck. 2-1 Rangers, the final. Tonight, Raptors host Charles Oakley and the Chicago Bulls down at the ACC.
All right, how about them Habs? Yeah. Here's what's on tonight.
We just saw it in entertainment, sex, and scandal as the Love Cruise docks tonight. Who will take home the $200,000 and get a trip around the world? George Lagajanis took a local look at Love to see what you had to say about our big boat bonanza.
As the game spirals towards its climax, the cast tries to hang on and avoid banishment to Loser Island. Separating truth from lies may be their only hope.
You are what you are! You are!
This is the Love Cruise.
I think Daryl and Melissa's going to win it, for sure.
How come?
Because they're a solid couple, you know, they got it together, and they're gonna go for it.
Okay, here's a recap of what we've had so far on Love Cruise. In round 5, Michael brought Jeanette back from banishment, making Andrea a new resident of Loser Island. So much for the alliance of the Chicago 4, because in round 6, Ralphie Boy got the old heepo, as did the ever-aggressive Tony. So now we're down to the final 4. Will Forbidden Lovers Darren and Melissa win, or Michael and Jeanette and their scheming ways?
In round 5, Michael pulls a shocking maneuver to save himself from elimination. He trades out his partner, Andrea, to bring back the beloved Jeanette.
I'm gonna say Love Cruise just like rocks, yeah.
I hear you.
But I gotta go with Darren Melissa on this one.
How come?
True love pays off every time, man.
You've been playing me like such a fool that I am.
That's not true.
Yeah, you've been playing all of
In-law problems may be one of the reasons that Mini Driver and Josh Brolin didn't make it to the altar. Did you know that, Kevin? Driver had differences with her prospective mother-in-law, Barbara Streisand, over the guest list, according to British newspapers. Seems the couple wanted a quiet family affair while Streisand planned an extravaganza and invited some of Hollywood's biggest names. Russell Crowe's band wants some recognition. I didn't even know he had a band. And is not shy about asking for it. This may be why. Listen to the name of their band. 30-odd Foot of Grunts.
I have all their CDs.
Yeah, recently urged its fans to vote for the band in an online competition of best music videos sponsored by Much Music USA. The band, via their website, gave detailed instructions on how to override Much's security system so fans could vote as many times as they liked. Well, a spokeswoman for Much USA points out that the band didn't win the competition anyway, and the true will of the fans has prevailed, she says, but she adds that Much Music is beefing up its online security. Stick with acting, buddy. And finally, Billy Bob Thornton is afraid of, what do you think?
Mice.
Antique furniture. Ah! Look at that dinette set. The Oscar winner says that he gets creeped out and can't breathe or can't eat around it, especially French and English furniture. That's the scariest of all. The 46-year-old actor, screenwriter. I'm not. This is, you know, this is true stuff. He doesn't know the source of his fear. He's been told that maybe he was beaten to death by an antique chair in a former life. I am not making this up. He is also afraid of clowns.
Now, I know a lot of people who are afraid of clowns.
Why
I know
would
that.
you
I have
be
no
afraid
idea.
of a clown?
No, I'm not afraid of clowns, but I know that
How about
actually
a clown sitting in an antique chair? Oh, my God.
I mean, the other thing, could you imagine having Barbara Streisand as a mother-in-law?
Now
like
that I'm truly afraid of. Yeah. Okay, yeah, she got out just in time. Good old Minnie. More rain in the forecast for you. Peter will have your 5-day right after the break. Stay with us.
Chair!
On August 4th, 1914, England went to war and took Canada with her, World War I. No one had predicted that an entire generation would be devastated by the years that lay ahead, nor did anyone predict casualties into the millions. The Canadian Medical Service responded valiantly, receiving high praise for efficiency and devotion to duty. At the heart of the Canadian effort were women who left home to make a difference in their country's future. Many were stationed at makeshift hospitals overseas. Among these outposts were orthopedic centers, where soldiers were treated with hydrotherapy, gymnastic exercise, and massage therapy. Nearly 2,000 soldiers were treated daily by massage, establishing massage therapy as a necessary and valued form of health care. The College of Massage Therapists of Ontario has been regulating the profession of massage therapy since 1919.
There's only one Toronto, and there's only one CHFI.
Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies.
Toronto's original soft rock station. It's something you won't hear anywhere else. The 8 a.m. All Music Hour. Weekdays on 98.1 CHFI. Toronto Soft Rock, 98.1 CHFI.
Your neighborhood Chrysler Dodge Jeep retailers announced 0% purchase financing on almost all models during their 2001 inventory clearout. Pay no interest and get big savings during this special limited time offer. Includes 0% purchase financing on all Dodge Caravans, 0% on Chrysler Intrepids and Chrysler Neons, 0% on all Dodge Rams, and much more during the 2001 inventory clearout. But hurry, offer ends soon. See your neighborhood Chrysler Dodge Jeep retailer now.
I'm Gord Martineau.
I'm Em Roskowski.
Tonight on City Pulse at 6, are bank machines and payphones breeding grounds for bacteria? What kind of germs do we come into contact with? That's part 2 of infection detection.
Also tonight, Canadian kids reach out to young victims of terror worldwide.
It's only on City, only at 6.
Checking the forecast once again, here's Peter.
Kevin, the cool grip of autumn is grabbing hold of us. At least it's going to feel that way for the next little while. Right now, it's 11 degrees in Toronto. Supposed to get up to a high of 12. That might not happen. We got winds coming out of the east at 34 kilometers an hour. As they shift to the north later today, they're going to make it feel quite uncomfortable as we go down to a low of 8 degrees. Humidity is 76%, and we may have showers later today. Barometric pressure is steady at 101.1 kilopascals. Now, it's going to be not a terribly uncomfortable evening throughout southern Ontario. 12s in Windsor and Sarnia, the highs today. Goderich and London getting up to 9 degrees. Niagara Falls, we're looking at a high of 10. We'll experience a high of 12 as we're creeping closer to that. Up in Cottage Country, a string of solid 11s. North Bay looking at a high of 9. Peterborough and Petawawa, 13. Ottawa getting up to 15. Kingston, the hot spot in southern Ontario, with a high of 16. On your 5-day forecast, well, we're looking at rain a little bit later today and winds coming out of the north, and it's just not going to be a lot of fun going down to a low of 8 after the high of 12. Wednesday, cloudy with scattered showers. Winds are going to increase, and we're looking at a high of only 8 tomorrow. But Thursday could be the best day of the week. It's going to be sunny and a high of 16. Friday, a mix of sun cloud with a possibility of rain and a high of 15. Similar conditions on Saturday with a high of 17. So cool today and tomorrow, but getting back to seasonable conditions by the weekend. Back inside.
He looks good in a slicker.
He does.
Yep.
And that is
Cute
this
man in a
edition
slicker.
of City Pulse at noon. Be sure to join Gord. He is cute. You're right. He is darn cute.
Even without the slicker.
Gordon and Ann have the next for you at 6.
Stay with us. City Online is coming up next. Have yourself a great day. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
I'm going to go give him a hug.
Oh, yes.
Welcome to City Online. I'm David Onley. It has been a whirlwind morning on the provincial political scene. Give us a call at 416-870-7716 or 1-800-295-5463 to tell us what you think about Mike Harris's bombshell announcement that he is leaving the Premier's office. Is this a victory for anti-poverty groups that crowded Toronto's downtown today? Do you think the Harris government is leaving behind a legacy of prosperity? And who would you like to see replace Harris as the leader of the Conservative Party? You can also take part in our phone poll. The question today, did Ontario improve under Mike Harris's leadership? If you say yes, call 416-870-2242. If you say no, 416-870-4424. We'll update you on the results at the end of the program. Or you can send us an email here at City Online. George did that. He writes this morning, despite his often controversial policies, I truly believe that Mike Harris has been good for Ontario. He was a tough politician who made us tighten our belts when we needed to, and now Ontario is enjoying the benefits of that. I hate to see Mike go, but I think we should now look to Jim Flaherty as the future of this province. And joining us live today with more on Mike Harris and his legacy is Sid Ryan, president of CUPE Ontario. And Sid, something tells me you don't agree with George's letter.
Absolutely not.
Welcome to the program.
On both counts, not even for Flaherty either.
You're not supporting him, Jim Flaherty. You want to come out as an early endorser.
He's my MPP, so I know a lot about Jim Flaherty.
What do you make of the announcement to begin with?
I'm surprised at the timing of it. I mean, I'm not surprised that he's resigning. I think everybody felt he would do that before the next election.
Really?
I guess with 2 years out. Yeah, I think the Premier understood that a lot of baggage is now beginning to stick to him. Walkerton, the Dudley George affair, the economy has turned sour. He knows that whole mantra around tax breaks, creating wealth and creating jobs is not going to play anymore, because clearly people now know that it was the booming economy in the U.S. is what really dragged Ontario along.
Do you feel the same degree of irony that I certainly did when I was hearing the announcement as I was driving in, and then also hearing about the protests? Sure. And I just thought, you know, love them or hate them, protests played key components of the Harris years, and here on the day that he's quitting.
No question. I think people will look back at this era And I don't believe that historians will look back very favorably, to be very frank, in terms of what has he done for the average Ontarian. Are you better off today as a result of 5 years of Mike Harris? And I bet you, well, the majority of people will say no, because we know for a fact that the polls have consistently been up there around 60% are against him, 40% are in favor of him. But if you happen to be on welfare, if you happen to be a worker in this province who hasn't got the protection of a union, for example, 60-hour work weeks, no increase in minimum wage. These are the lowest paid workers in the province in over 6 years.
You know what,
crowded hospitals.
We got so many calls. We want to get to them. We're going to take this quick break. First, then we're going to be heading out to on this break, and then we'll be taking a look at, as we do that, with your thoughts on one of Mike Harris's most recent announcements. Ironically, it's probably going to be the last big one that he made. Here's what you've been saying about the multi-billion-dollar commitment to mass transit. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Today, I'm pleased to announce that our government is moving ahead with a bold, new $9 billion transit plan to help strengthen our economy and to protect our environment.
It's unfair that my tax dollars will be supporting the TTC when I don't live in Toronto. My city has no public transit to speak of. It's unfair to ask the rest of Ontario to pay for Toronto's problems.
I'm afraid that once the province gives this new money to the TTC, the drivers will strike to get a pay raise. I think that there should be an auditor making sure the money is spent on improving service for riders.
I think it's terrible as a parent that they're given $9 billion to transit. Meanwhile, education's suffering, healthcare is going to suffer, and there's homeless out there.
I think this is a very positive move by the government. I own a car, but the cost of gas and parking has forced me to use transit to commute to the city. I hope that this investment will mean more reasonable fares for riders.
Begins with knowing who you are. Banking can be this comfortable. TD Canada Trust.
Hello, it's Patrick. He took out life insurance.
Your mother and I just took out life insurance from Norwich Union. Have you thought about it?
Dad, I'm only 40.
Norwich Union has a plan for people as young as 40. Besides, you have one good reason right over there. Take a look.
Norwich Union is pleased to bring you Guaranteed Life Plus, affordable life insurance for people 40 to 75. Your acceptance is guaranteed. You're under no obligation, and no salesperson will visit. Call now for your free information kit. Premiums start from as low as $9.95 a month, no matter how old you are, and they'll never increase. Guaranteed. So call now. You'll enjoy coverage up to $25,000, depending on your age and the premium you choose. In case of accidental death, your beneficiary receives 5 times your coverage, up to $125,000.
Thanks, Dad. I'm going to call Norwich Union now.
Norwich Union has a new name, AIG Assurance. Call toll-free, 1-800-285-7930, extension 256.
Many of New York's brave police officers and firefighters have sacrificed their lives to help save others. Now their loved ones need your help. Join Court TV and donate to those in need. Make your checks payable to the New York Police and Fire Widows and Children's Benefit Fund. Please mail it to the address on your screen. There is something you can do.
Welcome back to City Online. We're talking about Mike Harris's resignation today with Ontario CUPE President Sid Ryan. And Sid, just before we get to the phones, as you well know, there was a no-cap demonstration earlier today in the downtown core. And Mayor Lastman had a lot of things to say about it. Let's listen to that now.
If Sid Ryan and CUPE can afford to spend union dues to finance OCAP's campaign of intimidation, then they can afford to spend those union dues cleaning up OCAP's mess. I will be asking the city solicitor to initiate a court action against OCAP, its directors and its financial backers, to recover the cost of today's so-called protest and all future illegal activities by this group of thugs.
Wow.
Strong words.
Strong words.
Yeah. Gee, you know, Mel really should be paying attention to his finances. Maybe if he got all those consultants that have been hired on the taxpayers' expense and not being accounted for, maybe if he starts looking in his own backyard before he starts looking at people who are out there protesting, we might be better off. And in terms of cleaning up protests, is he now going to go after Caravana? Is he going to go after the Santa Claus Parade? Is he going to go after St. Patrick's Day Parade? I mean, it's just ridiculous. He's just looking for a soundbite as usual, shooting off his mouth and not really having much behind it, to be very frank.
Well, we wanted to let you hear that tape and hear it firsthand.
Typical Mel. What would you expect?
Well, you know, let's move on to the big topic at hand, and that is the resignation of Premier Mike Harris, pending. He will be in the office for another number of months, but he announced his intention to resign this morning. We go to the phones. William, are you there?
Yes, I am.
William, what do you think?
I'm glad he's resigning.
Okay.
I can't wait for him to actually get out and bring the next person in, because our health care and our education have all suffered major cuts. There's more and more people coming and not too many people leaving, so they want to push for education. Well, we need the money. Health care is not the greatest of things. I don't like going to a hospital and waiting for hours and hours and hours.
Yep.
So I'm more than happy. I want to see him gone.
Sid, he did get reelected in the same way that Brian Mulrooney got reelected, and then the Tories got wiped out. Do you sense there's a prospect of the Tories being wiped out?
I don't think so. No, I think his core base of support is still fairly solid. There are still about 25–30% of people just adore the ground he walks on, and everything he does, they approve of it. I think he'll lose the next election. There's no question. Not just he, but the Tories will lose the next election. Yeah. And even more so if we can convince the Liberals and the NDP to get together and work out some kind of an accord, because I don't think it's possible to beat the Tories in an election when they've got all this money, this ability to do massive advertising between now and the next election. I don't think it's possible unless we actually pull our two sides together to work out some kind of an accord, something similar to what NDP and the Liberals had in 1985. That I think might work. But Bill is not going to get, or William is not going to get what he wants in terms of more money into the education system and the healthcare system and those social programs, even over the next 2 years, because the Tories are going to stick with the same mantra as they had before. In fact, they're even in a deeper hole now, because Harris has accelerated the $2 billion in tax breaks to the corporations. He just did it a couple of weeks ago. So it's going to deplete the coffers even more so of those, really badly needed dollars to fund those programs. So the next 2 years is going to be pretty tough in this province.
Very interesting. Let's, William, thank you for calling. Andy, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Thanks for calling, Andy. What did you think when you heard the news?
Well, I think Harris should have stayed. He's done a good job, and the gentleman sitting next to you there should also be looking in his backyard.
Right.
The unions have dragged down the monies in the province of Ontario by holding our governments hostage. That includes the TTC by holding the City of Toronto hostage for fare increases, pay rates. Where the working people are out there, we're out there. Most of the protesters downtown today are people that are sitting on welfare, don't want to go out and get a job because they don't want to work for $6 an hour. Well, when I started working years ago, I started at $2.50 an hour. I've paid my taxes for the last 28 years, and if we had more people coming off the welfare, as Harris said, get out, get a job, put your money back into our economy, we wouldn't have these education cuts, we wouldn't have the health care.
Okay, well, let's get Sid's response.
Well, the caller's completely wrong, because we've actually had over
half a million...
Where do you really
stand on this issue?
Yeah, no, we don't. But seriously, I mean, we've had over 500,000 people come off the welfare rolls, and we still have serious crisis in healthcare and education. So that's not the solution at all. What needs to be reversed is that whole notion of giving back these massive tax breaks as if somehow you don't need to have social programs in place. Actually, no, it's actually taking place post September the 11th. People are now beginning to take a look and see that in actual fact there is a role for government in society. There's a big role for government. And even in terms of healthcare, we're running our hospitals today at 95% capacity, whereas you know, prior to the Harris government, you're running around 80% capacity, which means you've got that room in the event of an emergency, in the event of bioterrorism or some terrorist attack or emergency, you need it. And now people are beginning to say, my God, what are we doing to ourselves? We're operating at the margins, and as a result of that, the province is in you know, people are saying we're not prepared. So that to me is where we need to be heading.
Okay, Andy, thank you very much for calling. We're going to take a quick break, then we'll answer more of your calls when City Online returns. Stay with us.